Hi, 5th and 6th grade students. Here we are again. This is week number 5. Can you believe it? Jeez. Well, it's been forever since we've seen each other. I really, really miss you guys, and I hope everything's going well for you. Okay? All right, this week we're going to start talking about something new. We're going to talk about the metric system. And the rest of the world uses the metric system a lot. Here in the United States, we still use the standard system, but we use the metrics. We use both. But for those of us, and actually, the metric system is easier. It's just for those of us who learn the standard system, where we use inches and feet and yards and miles. You know, we grew up with that, and so that's why it's easier for us. But the reality is the metric system is easier because it's all based on tens. So today we're going to talk about what you're going to do this week. The first page is on finding metric lengths. And they have these rulers, and the little itty bitty lines on the rulers are millimeters. I don't know how well, yeah, there you can see them, okay? And then the numbers are centimeters, okay? So every one of these itty bitty lines is a millimeter. Okay, and it takes 10 millimeters to make 1 centimeter. So what they want you to do on this first page is measure the length of the bar that's above the ruler. Now they didn't start them at 0, except for maybe one of them. Well, maybe there's a few of them. Anyway, so what you need to know is, so this starts at 1. So that when you go to where this ends, you're going to take 1 off. So this one, it goes from 1 to 11, and if you see that little line that's longer in between the 11 and the 12, that's the halfway mark. So, and halfway, since there's 10 millimeters for a centimeter, halfway is going to be 5. All right, so this, it's at 11 and a half. So actually our measurement is going to be 10.5, okay? Because we have to take 1 off. And 11.5 minus 1 is 10.5. All right, let's look at the third one. Okay, it starts at number 6, and it goes to 12 and a half, so 12.5. So 12.5 minus 6 is going to be 6.5. And we'll look at one more. Let's look at number 7. And number 7, it goes, whoops, is this number 7? Okay, number 7 is the small one. Okay, right here. And it goes from 4 to 7. So from 4 to 7 is, okay, 1, 2, 3. So it's only 3 centimeters. And for your answer, okay, after each one you should put a small cm for centimeters. If you look at the top of the paper, it says find the length of each bar, write your answer in centimeters, and then it has a cm for centimeters. Okay? All right. Now the second page is a matter of estimation. You know, like the number 1. Which choice best represents the length of a loaf of bread? Okay, is that going to be 31 kilometers, 31 millimeters, 31 centimeters, or 31 meters? Well, if you think about a meter as being a little longer than a yardstick. You know, a yardstick is 3 feet, and it's longer than that. A yardstick is like 36 inches, and I think a meter stick's around 39 or something like that. So a loaf of bread, I don't think it's going to be that long, do you? And centimeters, well, kilometers is sort of like miles, so not that big. And we saw on our ruler, okay, millimeters are these itty bitty ones. So 31 of those would be 1, 2, 3, one line past the 3. That's not bread. A loaf of bread's bigger than that. So it's probably going to be centimeters. Because if you look at this, from 0 to 10, that's 10 centimeters. So 3 more, or 2 more, that's about the length of a size of a piece of a loaf of bread. Can't even talk. Anyway, so that's what you're going to be doing, is doing your estimation. And then these last 2 pages, we're going to be converting metric distances, okay? And so I wanted to go over this with you. All right. So we saw on the ruler that you had on the first page that a millimeter, it takes 10 millimeters to make 1 centimeter. So a millimeter is actually 1/10 of a centimeter, okay? Because it takes 10 of them to make a centimeter. So 10 millimeters makes a centimeter, 100 centimeters makes a meter, and 1,000 meters makes a kilometer. Whoops, you can't see that. Okay, so remember I told you it goes by tens? So 1 times 10 is 10, 10 times 10 is 100, 100 times 10 is 1,000. So it works its way up like that. Okay. All right, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be converting these distances, and some of them will go from a smaller unit of measurement to a bigger one, and some will go from a bigger unit of measurement to a smaller one. If we're going from a smaller unit of measurement to a bigger one, then we are going to divide. If we're going from a bigger unit of measurement to a smaller one, we're going to multiply, okay? Because it takes more of the small ones to make a big one, and that's why we divide. It takes a lot more small ones to make a big one, so if we're going from big to small, we have to multiply to get the right answer. Okay. These are really not that complicated. All right. So 56 millimeters. How many centimeters is that? Well, we saw, all right, it takes 10 centimeters to make, or 10 millimeters to make 1 centimeter, right? So if we're going from a smaller unit, millimeters is smaller than centimeters, then we have to divide, right? And it takes 10 millimeters to make 1 centimeter. So we're going to divide by 10. And when the nice thing about this is, okay, remember every number, if it doesn't have a decimal, that decimal is still there. It's just not written because we don't need it. Okay, so 56 is the same as 56 point. Now I'm going from small to big, so I'm going to divide. So since it takes 10 of these to make this, I'm going to divide by 10. And when I divide by 10, I just move 1 place. Okay, so my decimal point will be here. So 56 millimeters is 5.6 centimeters. Okay, all right, now I'm going from centimeters to meters. And if you remember, it takes, let's see, centimeters to meters, it takes 100 centimeters to make 1 meter. 100. So I'm going from small to big, so I'm going to divide again. But since the difference in these is times 10, I'm going to divide by 10. Times 100. It takes 100 of these just for 1 of those. So I'm going to divide this number by 100. So remember, I've got my decimal point right there. So if I'm dividing by 100, this is dividing by 10, this is dividing by 100. So, and we always have a 0 for the placeholder, so my answer is 0.28. Okay, because I divided by 100. 100. Okay, all right. Now I'm going from meters to kilometers. Okay, and it takes 1,000 of these to make 1 of those. So you're right, we got to divide by 1,000. And each place, just remember, each place is 10 times the size of the place before. So if I'm dividing by 1,000, okay, here's my decimal point. This is 10, this is 100, this is 1,000. So I'm going to have to put a 0 there, right? And in front of my decimal point, I put a 0 for a placeholder, and then I'm going to put 0.088. Okay? All right, now this time we're going to be going from, let's see, from big to small. So from big to small, this time we're going to be multiplying, okay? Because it takes more smaller pieces to make the bigger ones. So we have to multiply to get the answer over there. So 3.9 centimeters, how many millimeters is it? Well, this is 10 times bigger than that. So we have to multiply this answer by 10, which means we're going to move our decimal point one place, times 10. So the answer is 39. Okay? Now we're going from meters to centimeters. Well, it takes 100 centimeters to make a meter. So this time we have to multiply by 100. And another way of thinking, okay, I could have my decimal point here and then go 2 places, but multiplying by 100 is also the same as adding 2 zeros to your number. So I've got 95, so I'm going to put 95 and 2 zeros, and I need my comma there for the thousands place. So multiplying by 100 is the same as just adding 2 zeros. Okay? All right, now I'm going from kilometers to meters. Well, it takes 1,000 meters to make a kilometer. Okay? So how many zeros in 1,000? 3. So I have the number 6, and I am going to add 3 zeros and put my comma in. All right? Okay, I know I only did one example of each, but you can refer back to this video and see how I did them. If you're confused, please ask the person that calls you, okay? And if they can't help you, I'm certainly willing to help you, okay? We've done something kind of like this earlier on in the school year. For those of you guys that remember, we did it, but we weren't talking about units of measurement, but we were talking about multiplying and dividing by tens and hundreds and thousands with decimals. So anyway, hope you enjoy your lesson this week. I don't know, it's kind of been crazy, guys, but I hope I get to see you soon, and please enjoy your week. Enjoy the time with your family, and this is a good time for us to get closer with our family and, you know, do things together, play cards, play games, go outside and just run around the house. I mean, do something active, whatever it is. Do not just sit around watching TV and playing video games. There's more to life than that, okay? And it will help you feel better if you run around and move. There's these things called endorphins, and when we move around, they give us a feeling of, and I don't mean just walking, I mean you're actually running around and stuff, and they give us a feeling that we can do just about anything, and they make us feel better. So it's really important for you to do that. All right, you guys, I miss you and I love you. Talk to you soon. Bye.